let's see. Okay, minding the gap with feedback. That's where we started at on page 197. A daring greatly culture is a culture of honest, constructive, and engaged feedback. So I think the part that a lot of people don't take it into account or don't process when it comes to feedback or when it comes to having uncomfortable conversations, that it is just as challenging for the person that is giving the feedback as it is for the person receiving the feedback. And if there's a third party, a person facilitating the feedback, it is an uncomfortable process for all people. It is not just the person that's receiving feedback it is uncomfortable for. I think when you keep that in mind, that can assist. I'm not going to say fix, but I'm going to say assist with the process, the thought process that is uncomfortable for everybody. That you don't need to put your armor up, okay, because you're receiving feedback, right? Without feedback, there's no growth, okay? Without feedback, there can't be no transformative change. When we don't talk to the people we're leading about the strengths and opportunities for growth, they begin to question their contributions and our commitment. And I'm sure we've all experienced that at a job. You experienced that in a school. You maybe experienced that even in a relationship, okay? When there's not a constructive feedback or there's not conversations, then there's no change that can take place. There's no growth that can happen. So then it's kind of like, what is my contribution to this, and what is your commitment to this? Are you committed to this? Am I really contributing to this? Am I valued? Are you valuing me? Those are the kind of questions that you begin to ask yourself, and which leads to disengagement if you feel like those things aren't being met, right? So when Brene did her research and she asked people in situations or in organizations where there was no constructive feedback, right? In schools, work, etc. There was two major issues she said that came up. People were not comfortable with hard conversations, and people didn't know how to give and receive feedback in a way that moves people forward, okay? And move processes forward. That's important. Not just you don't know how to give feedback or receive it, but in a way that moves things forward, that inspires growth. Because we can have a good conversation. For example, we can sit here and we can talk about vulnerability, we could talk about shame, we could talk about guilt, we can talk about these gremlins, we could talk about these things, but if we're not having a conversation that will move us forward, then it's just talk, right? So it's important that the feedback that is received and given moves people forward, moves processes forward, right? So those are the two major problems she says, that people aren't comfortable. Well, the reality of it is giving and receiving feedback is never going to be a comfortable situation. It's not going to be comfortable. What happens is, as she says, you have to normalize discomfort. You have to make it normal that through the discomfort, through pushing through the discomfort is where you're going to push through the growth, is where you're going to push through the transformative change, right? Getting comfortable with hard conversations is just not it. It's normalizing the discomfort. Okay, I like this quote that she used. We believe growth and learning are uncomfortable, so it's going to happen here. We believe learning and growth is uncomfortable. It's going to happen here. Wow. Like, I know that me walking into an organization, whether it's community organization, whether it's a job, whether it's even in a relationship or even at a school, like, that being said to me by a leader, we believe growth and learning are uncomfortable. So it's going to happen here. You're going to feel that way. That right there breaks the anxiety. It breaks the nervousness. It breaks the armor, trying to be perfect, trying to show up a certain way. That breaks that down. That is the courage. That is the vulnerability. Vulnerability is not a weakness. It's a courage, right? It takes courage to be vulnerable. That is the courage to be honest, right? Having that honest conversation. We want you to know that it's normal and it's an expectation here. You're not alone, and we ask that you stay open and lean into it. Lean into discomfort. I love the way that was put. I love the way that is said. And I think that is something that I want to adopt for myself, just as I speak to y'all, as I teach people, as I describe the journey. Because, I'm always telling you guys that this spiritual journey, this journey of growth, is not a comfortable one. There'll be times where you will cry. There'll be times where you'll be in the fetal position. It is an uncomfortable process to see yourself, deal with yourself, and make the changes within yourself, and not to point the finger outside of yourself, not to make the blame everybody else. It takes courage and it takes hard work to look within yourself and make the changes within yourself, make the hard decisions, right? And it's uncomfortable, but you aren't alone. Just stay open and lean into it. I think that's such a good quote, right? If you're comfortable, Brene Brown says to her students, if you're comfortable, I'm not teaching and you're not learning. It's going to get uncomfortable in here, and that's okay. It's normal, and it's a part of the process, right? It's a part of the process. The simple and honest process of letting people know that discomfort is normal. It's going to happen. Why it happens and why it's important reduces anxiety. It reduces fear and shame. Periods of discomfort become an expectation and a norm. In fact, most of her students, she said, have approached her after class and said, hey, I'm not uncomfortable yet. Is something wrong? But being uncomfortable is something that has to be normalized, because that's where the growth happens. That's where the transformation happens. I listened to my astrologer this morning, and she's been talking about this year being a very transformative year, dealing with the Pluto aspects. She talked about in the spring, and some of you may remember me saying this, but she talked about how we were caterpillars and we were put into our cocoon. And while we're in a cocoon, you transform into a butterfly. But the thing is, the perspective that she gave when she talked about that in the springtime was that the caterpillar doesn't know that it's changing from a caterpillar. It doesn't know that it needs to transform. It just knows that its body starts doing something, and now it's in this dark cocoon for months. Well, she says starting this week, we're going to be coming out of cocoon as a butterfly. And she said, when you look at a butterfly come out of a cocoon, it is hard work. She said, now when you watch a video, she said you Google it and watch a video, it's happening very quickly. You don't get to see the pauses of the butterfly, pausing to take a breath as it comes out. They said when it first comes out, its wings are sticky and stiff. So she said, yes, you have transformed into this butterfly, but coming out of the cocoon is hard. That's the discomfort. She's talking about the discomfort. The discomfort in transformation is uncomfortable when you're a caterpillar, or you're in a situation, and then now it's like, okay, it's time to turn into a butterfly, and you're like, hey, I didn't know this. How many times have you walked into a situation and you was uncomfortable because you didn't know what was going on? That's uncomfortable in itself right there. So there's the first discomfort. Something's happening. I ain't know this was going to happen, and I got to get a part of this process, and I got to get on it now. I don't have time to process it, think it, nothing. This is just what it is. Nobody told me. Nobody gave me the scoop on it. Well, there's discomfort in it. You dive right into it, and now you're in a cocoon. Now it's time to come out. She talks about the hatches. She said when a chick hatches out of an egg, when things hatch, it is an uncomfortable process. And I also just thought about giving birth, right? When a woman is giving birth, the baby doesn't know that, the baby is just being a baby. The baby doesn't know it has to go through this process of coming out. Like, it's just, oh, I'm here, I'm comfortable, just in its own little world. Well, it is just as challenging as it is for the baby as it is for the mom. The mom has to push. It's hard. It takes some breaths. It's some work. But there's a beautiful thing that emerges called a baby, right? So when this caterpillar turns into a butterfly and then it hatches out of its cocoon, it's a beautiful thing as a butterfly that emerges. But it took work for that transformation. It took work for you to emerge into a butterfly. It took work, okay? So understanding that discomfort is normal, understanding that that's part of the transformation process, and it takes you to a place of beauty. It takes you to a place of a beautiful person. It takes you to a place of a beautiful leader, just a beautiful spiritual person, a beautiful person that has bloomed. And all of you can attest, and the discomforts that you've been through. You know the challenging times. You know the times where you had to just pray and talk to God, right? Well, guess what? We're normalizing the discomfort. It is normal. That is part of the transformation process. That is part of the growth process. You cannot grow without being uncomfortable. It's just not possible. Even children, I'm going to give you more examples. There's a certain age, a certain time where children go through growing pains, is what they call it. Their body hurts, they're growing. When you're pregnant as a woman, if you're a woman and been pregnant, you know that as your breasts grow with breast milk, it gets painful. It's growing and expanding, right? There's some pain there. There's some discomfort there. But what emerges is something beautiful, something magnificent, something transformative, something that's amazing, right? Something that's amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. So normalizing discomfort, that's showing up. That's the having the vulnerable conversation, right? I think when you keep in mind normalizing the discomfort when you're receiving feedback, when you're giving feedback, or you are being a third party to those that are giving feedback, is having that first statement of normalizing discomfort. This conversation for me, this is how it started. This conversation is just as uncomfortable for me as it is for you. It's uncomfortable. This is not a comfortable conversation. It's not easy to have to give feedback sometimes, right? But what did she say that was very, very important? She says, vulnerability is at the heart of the feedback process. This is true whether we give, receive, or as a third party to the feedback. And the vulnerability doesn't go away, even if we're trained and experienced in offering and getting feedback. Experience does, however, give us the advantage of knowing that we can survive the exposure and uncertainty, and that it is worth the risk. That is the key. That is what the experience does. That's the more that you are vulnerable, the more that you are vulnerable in your feedback, it just makes you know that, hey, I can survive this. I can survive the uncertainty. I can survive the exposure. That's what it lets you know. It doesn't get any better. Feeling vulnerable is feeling vulnerable. Feeling vulnerable is not something that it's not like a pain level. You have levels to pain. As you heal, as you get better, your pain level will decrease, right? Vulnerability is not that way. Vulnerability feels uncomfortable. It's just uncomfortable. That's just what it is. But what happens is what Brene Brown has been talking about is shame resilience. You build resilience through it, right? You build resilience, and what it does is through the experiences, it gives you the advantage of knowing that you're going to survive vulnerability. You're going to survive uncertainty, because you don't know how a person's going to respond. You don't even know how you may react, because sometimes we might react instead of responding, right? But you know that you're going to survive it. You know it's not the worst thing in the world. And then you also know it's worth the risk, because guess what? You are growing as a person. You are growing in this relationship. That vulnerability allows connection with other people. That's how you relate to other people. That's how you connect to people. When we aren't allowing ourselves to show up and be seen, that will cause disengagement, right? That causes disengagement. So starting off the feedback with being honest. Being honest. Sitting on the same side of the table. I love that analogy that she used. It's by sitting on the same side of the table and not saying that the problem is something that we're going to push and shove between us, but we're going to sit on the same side of the table, and this is a problem we're going to tackle together. And know that each time that you have these honest vulnerability conversations, you will get better at how you speak it and how it comes out. I think she does a good job of breaking down how to communicate feedback, but that's something that takes practice. No different than, like I said before, When you start a new job, you're trained and you're taught what to do. On the first and second day, you're still getting the hang of it, right? You're still getting to learn it. And if you're in a great environment, they will normalize the discomfort of starting. Okay, you'll get the hang of it. There's a learning curve. Just keep going. You will get better at it, right? You're normalizing that discomfort, because we're going to have a discomfort. But guess what? As you get out there and as you do it, you become more comfortable in doing it. You become more courageous. You figure out what works for you. You figure out what doesn't work for you. You get your own little groove, and next thing you know, you have mastered it, right? It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's the same thing with this feedback, with this vulnerability feedback, right? You will continue to get better at it, but you got to try. You got to do it. If you don't ever do it, you'll never get a chance to get better. It's not going to be perfect. For me, I'm posting my videos on YouTube. I'm making graphics and stuff. That is not something I've been trained in, but I'm like, listen, I'm going to have to do it anyway. I'm already seeing some progression in my graphics. It'll just get better over time. And that's what I have to tell yourself. And that's why I like what she brought up in entrepreneurs. I'm going to jump to that too. Because me as an entrepreneur, you do have to stay vulnerable. Okay? You really do. You really, really do. You know, because success requires entrepreneurs to cultivate strong support networks and good mentors. You need to learn how to shut out the noise so you can get clear on how you feel, what you think, and then do the hard work. No question, it's all about vulnerability. You have to, and here's the thing. Some of the most feedback you get from people as an entrepreneur are your customers. You have to listen to it. You have to listen to what's not working. Why is it not working? And you have to be able to shut out the noise and be able to know the difference and do the hard work to make the adjustment, right? Make the adjustment. If they're saying a part of the product doesn't work, okay, this part is defective. This part always breaks down. And you hear this from multiple customers, it's time for you to go back to the drawing board and figure out what is going to work, right? Or this communication style is challenging. If you're hearing it from multiple people, you got to go and do the hard work and meet people where they are. Make the changes, right? Make the changes. It takes hard work. When you shut down vulnerability, you shut down opportunity. Wow. The opportunity to grow, right? And if you are a part of my daily inspirational text messages, yesterday I sent out a text message about failure and how failure is an opportunity. So, and I can break that down in so many different ways. Failure is an opportunity to grow. Failure is an opportunity to do something again with wisdom. Failure is an opportunity. It's an opportunity. Right? As Einstein has said, I have not failed 1,000 times. I have found 1,000 ways that do not work. He has used it as an opportunity to learn what does not work. Right? So, when you shut down your vulnerability, you shut down opportunity. Okay? Entrepreneurship is vulnerable. It's all about the ability to handle and manage uncertainty. That's life when you think about it. You know, you're talking about an entrepreneur, but that's life. There's nothing secure and certain in life. The only thing that is certain in life is that you're going to die. That's it. That is the only thing that is certain in life. Reality is nothing certain, and I think this pandemic has allowed people to realize that there's no real security, right? There's so much uncertainty. It allowed us to have to become vulnerable, right? You have to become vulnerable in that. And remember that vulnerability is just showing up as you are. It's not a weakness. It takes courage to show up as you are. It takes courage to show up and be seen. And this is who you are, right? It takes courage to do that. It takes courage to say, what are these words? She used really good words. Okay, so let me dive right into this. It takes courage to say things like this. This is how you know. She said, this is how you know you're in a community, you're in a business or school or a system that people engage in vulnerability. It takes a lot to say, I don't know. I need help. I like to give it a shot. It's important to me. I disagree. Can we talk about it? It didn't work, but I learned a lot. Yes, I did it. Accountability, right? Here's what I need. Here's how I feel. I like some feedback. Can I get your take on this? What can I do better next time? Can you teach me how to do this again? I played a part in that. Accountability. I accept responsibility for that. I am here for you. I want to help. Let's move on. That means a lot to me. I'm sorry. Thank you. Just that takes courage to say those things. Like, it sounds so simple, right? It sounds so simple, but the reality of it is it takes courage. A lot of people aren't engaged enough to do that. A lot of people put on the armor, as she says, the vulnerability armor. A lot of people have this persona that they're trying to portray, this vision that they're trying to portray that they believe society will accept. It takes courage to show up and be who you are. It really does. It really takes courage. So normalize the discomfort of vulnerability, but understand that the more you experience vulnerability, the more you experience that, you will realize that you're going to survive uncertainty, and you're going to survive the exposure, and that it's worth the risk, because nothing in life is certain. Nothing in life is certain besides death. That's just it. There's nothing else that's certain in life. We can build all these processes, things, and have all these people and things around us that give us the false image of certainty, which is what I feel like our society did, and that this pandemic has completely exposed. There's no certainty. There was no job security. Whatever that means, there's no job security. You know, as an entrepreneur, there is no income security. What I bring in every month is what I bring in every month. There's no set amount, right? But I still show up. I still have the courage. I still do it. I still give it my all, and I survived it. I still give it my all. I've become a lot better at it. I don't even really fear like I used to fear. There was a point in time where I would worry and doubt and wonder, and I don't even do that anymore. I just know that I know, okay, I made it. I'm going to continue to make it. Everything always works out. I'm going to work it out. That's the faith piece, right? That's the faith piece. Brittany says, I'll keep that in mind with my new business, accountability partner, who's a man. Yes. So the thing is even if you don't have a physical accountability partner, and you are an entrepreneur, your business is your accountability partner. Is it moving forward? Are you gaining customers? Are you losing customers? That's your accountability partner right there. That'll let you know, are you being accountable or not? So I just like this book. You know what I mean? I like how she breaks it down. I'm thankful for her research that Brene Brown has done. I'm thankful for her sharing it. I'm thankful for her showing up. I'm thankful for her just continuing to do it, because it's conversations that people aren't wanting to have. It takes courage to do that. It really does take courage to do that. So there's not much else I'm going to discuss about that chapter. We just finished up chapter 6. I will go over some stuff. Good afternoon for those who are coming in. I will go over some stuff that I went over in the beginning. I will be doing live next week on Monday and Tuesday only. So we will be reading chapter 7, half of chapter 7 on Monday. I didn't call you. I will be reading, we'll be reading half of chapter 7 on Monday, next Monday, and we will be doing prayer next Tuesday. Tomorrow is prayer day, so make sure you submit your prayer requests so that we can get our prayers in tomorrow, which is always good. Yeah, those are the two main things that I wanted to go over with you all about what's coming up. Winter solstice is next Monday. So for Patreon members, if you want to be a part of the ritual that you want me to do, please go ahead and make sure you get that taken care of as soon as possible. For those of you that aren't Patreon members and you want to be a part of a protection ritual or have access to that, become a Patreon member. If you're watching on YouTube, click the link below, or you can go to the bio on my Instagram page and click the link and click on Soul and become a member. Okay? We will be doing a guided meditation too, members only guided meditation this Sunday. You don't want to miss it out. And it's going to be an interactive meditation, by the way. So it's not just me guiding you And that's it. We're going to go through the meditation and we're going to discuss our experiences and have some interaction that's going on. All right? So I want y'all to have a beautiful day. Have a great day. Today's a good day. Each day gets better and better. And I'm very thankful for each and every one of you. Make sure you submit your prayer requests. And I will see y'all in the morning. Bye.